Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about our information technology program here at Tulane School of Professional Advancement. There's going to be a brief presentation where we're going to talk about the program, some of its specific offerings, as well as a little bit about the history of Tulane and Tulane SoPA. So if there's anything that comes up along the way where there's something that you want us to clarify or you have a question, definitely use that chat function. We're going to be joined today by Bill Riles and Ralph Russo. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Today we're going to talk a little bit about who we are, the history of Tulane, what we offer, as far as the course offerings, degree offerings, some of the ways that we support student success, and then how to actually apply. And then past that application process, we'll talk a little bit about tuition, financial aid, and some of those other practical elements that are going to be really important for you when you're looking at starting your educational journey or continuing it for the next step. My name is Chris Lloyd. I'm an admissions associate here at Tulane University School of Professional Advancement. I work closely with our students who are applying as well as our students who are already here on campus. So you'll often see me out at any of our alumni events or any of these other big public-facing events. So if you have questions about the process, or if you're just kind of curious to learn more, you should definitely reach out to me. I'll share my information here at the end of the panel so that you can have a way to follow up with me and get those questions answered directly. And for attending today's webinar, you'll also qualify for an application fee waiver. So you won't have to pay that cost of your application. You'll just want to either apply the code that we'll share at the end or reach out to me at the end to make sure that you're able to get that applied. So I'm joined today by Mr. Ralph Russo and Mr. Bill Riles. Dr. Riles, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. I'm Bill Riles. I'm the Associate Director of the program and also one of the professors. I assist Director Russo in running the IT program. I've had 20 plus years of industry experience, and I discovered a passion for teaching when I started as an adjunct for Tulane, some 8-10 years ago. Now I work at Tulane full-time, running the program, and also be one of your instructors. So I'm real passionate about delivering some industry knowledge and bringing in the best faculty that we can to help you, assist you in your academic goals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riles. Mr. Russo, could you please tell us a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ralph Russo, and I'm the director of the information technology programs at Tulane, and I'm excited to tell you more about those. I was an adult learner and earned my degrees while working, so I'm familiar with what folks go through, and our program's built for adult learners and for folks who are gainfully employed or working on other things or pursuing some of their life dreams. So I'm excited to get started today.
Thank you, Ralph. So I just want to start with a little bit of an overview about Tulane and about the School of Professional Advancement. So Tulane University was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. I doubt there was anyone that's in this chat who was around for that portion of it, but if you're from the area, you may remember Tulane School of Professional Advancement as either University College or Continuing Studies. We started offering these continuing education classes in 1886. These classes are a way for people within the community of Tulane and that Gulf Coast region and New Orleans area to get access to a high quality education at an affordable price point. You're getting access to a school that's demonstrated a commitment to adult learners for over 130 years. If we were our own university separate from Tulane, we'd be one of the oldest in the United States that has that commitment to educational equity and to providing adult learners with accessibility. So initially we were founded with a way for people to get access to some of these program offerings at Tulane. And then now as we've grown over the years, we've started to expand our own offerings. And some of that includes our information technology programs where we're offering bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, as well as certificate programs. When we relaunched in April of 2017, we had a focus on making sure that our educational offerings matched what the demand was for in the area. So we've worked with some of the local organizations like GNO to help ensure that our course offerings are actually matching what's needed within the region. So what you'll find, particularly from our information technology program, is skill development that's needed within the region. So you'll immediately be able to step into a role where you can use things that are in-demand skills that you've learned here, as well as a portfolio of your work where you can sort of demonstrate that value. And with a lot of our programs, that's going to be the end goal. You're walking out with something that's a clear demonstration of what you've learned, what skills you have, and of the development that you've been through. We offer 3 totally online master's degrees. That's growing. We also have quite a few bachelor's level degrees. So if you're looking to start that journey, you can start with either certificates or a bachelor's degree and work your way up towards those master's programs. The classes are offered online, on campus, and generally what you'll find is most of the programs are going to offer a combination. So with our IT program, we do have entirely online offerings, whereas with the bachelor's level, for the master's level, we have entirely online offerings, whereas at the bachelor's level, you will have some campus components. For those campus components, you'll be looking at some daytime courses, but generally a typical course schedule for a student will be you meet once a week, typically during a weeknight. 6 p.m. to 8:50 is a typical course time. So in that 2.5 hours to 3 hour block, you'll be getting all of your educational delivery through that. With an online component, you would be doing discussion boards, or you'd be doing other online components where it's a little bit more self-paced. You'd still have that semester bounding you in as sort of defining when your work is going to be due, but it gives you a little bit more flexibility if you're a working adult. A lot of our offerings are going to be aimed towards people who have those other obligations that make a traditional daytime course a little bit more difficult. So we want to offer as wide of a variety of delivery methods, so online and in person, as well as times that are going to be conducive to your learning.
Yeah.
Mr. Russo, could you please tell us a little bit more about this program?
Yes, Chris, we'd like to tell you a little bit more. I want to start by, students may say, okay, well, you have degrees, you have classes, you have courses, what's the difference? And so I want to take a second to talk about, you mentioned on-ground courses at the university, and you also mentioned online courses. Well, I want to tell you folks a little bit about how we build online courses here so you know what the difference is. So Chris mentioned that we went out to industry. We got 30 or so CIOs, CISOs, CEOs in a room, and we said, what skills, what knowledge, what abilities are you looking for in your workforce? And then we took what they said, and then we built courses to a specification such as ABET, which is a science and engineering accreditation, such as Association for Computing Machinery. So we took those standards from an academic perspective, and then we made sure that the delivery of those courses and the tools used were tools that were valuable in industry. So in addition to that, when we build these courses, we combine a subject matter expert in the topic with an instructional designer who builds great courses to the latest best practice. And then we added in graphics, media, and video folks to help them build courses. And we'll tell you a little bit more about those as we in our learning management system as we go through. But I just wanted to tell you how we built these courses and what makes them different from, say, online courses you might find in other places. So, Bill, did you want to take us a little further in?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I would like to talk a little bit about how we have industry relevant knowledge and technical skills into our classes. So if you're seeking an undergraduate or a graduate degree, if you want to separate yourself from the pack with a traditional college degree, you want those certain academic skills, critical thinking, problem solving, conceptual theory, things like that. All the stuff from an academic side that will separate you from the rest of the pack, what makes a college graduate a college graduate. Now, we can do that. We've done that, and a lot of universities do a real good job of teaching the academic theories. But we've done, on the other side, in the IT world, the technical skills are also equally as important. As Director Russo pointed out, we've met with industry experts who are hiring graduates, and we talk to them and say, what do you want to see from a graduate, and what's not there? And a resounding input we received was a lot of graduates are simply not ready for the workforce in IT because they lack the technical skills. A student may can write a paper on a router. They can discuss how a firewall is relevant, but you set them in front of one, they wouldn't know what to do. They don't know how to log into a Windows server to do anything. So we want to bring some of the actual technical skills. But then one asks, well, then why not just teach technical skills? Or why not just teach industry technical skills, which leads to a certification, like an A+ certification or any of the CompTIAs or a Cisco CCNA, something like that? Well, we could, and we do. But what we do, we combine the academic side, theory-based knowledge, and we just happen to use relevant today's technology to teach those academic skills. So you have kind of both. You've got, because you don't want to focus just on the technology, because the technology is only a point in time. Technology changes. So when the technology changes, if you don't have the other academic theory to go with the changes in technology, you have to go back and get recertified and things like that. And on the other side of the coin, you don't want to have just theory and no practical knowledge. So something that we do at Tulane SoPA IT programs, as a term we kind of coined called pracademia. It's academics with practical relevant skills. So you're going to learn all the academic theories with today's technology. You're going to learn how to log into today's servers and set up Active Directory and set up DNS. And you're going to learn how to do penetration tests in the cybersecurity side. You're going to write code in today's languages and things like that are relevant to today. So not only when you graduate, you'll have your academic degree, but you'll have industry-ready skills that you can go to the workforce and sit in front of a desk and be useful day one. And so I also want to talk a little bit about our faculty. We've got top-of-the-line faculty. And these aren't just faculty who's been in academia their entire lives. These aren't faculty that you would see in a typical university where they went to college, they got their master's, they got their PhD, and they've been teaching for the past 20 years. They really haven't ever done anything in real life. You just heard myself and Director Russo talk about our careers. We've done it in real life. We've been CIOs, we've been directors of IT, large IT organizations. So has our other faculty that's going to be teaching some of your courses. These guys are, and we have recruited the best of the best that has done the IT projects, has been successful. So not only that, when they relate to you of, okay, textbook theory says this, but this is how it works in the real world. So that's very important. We wanted to bring that practical side to our courses, but with the academic skills as well. And we talked a little bit earlier about a lot of our classes on the undergraduate side is offered online as well. And so in the IT field, one last thing I want to bring up before we move on is that it has expanded in the last several years. Used to, you would have, you're the IT person, or you're the widget maker, you're the IT guy or IT lady who can do all the IT skills. But now it's become so specialized because the skills and the technology is much more complex. An IT person may be very skilled in app dev or programming, but not so much in system engineering or network architecture. So the discipline of IT is almost kind of split in different functions. So you can be an IT practitioner with a specialized skill set in a certain area. And because of that, we have restructured our program to respond to the trends we're seeing in the overall industry by using specialized concentrations and stackable certificates. And Chris, we can go to the next slide. Well, since I'm talking about that anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So with this, let's look at right there in the center column. This is dealing with the Bachelor of Science degree, the undergrad degree. Well, your diploma and your transcript will have Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, also with this specialized concentration. Here's a highlight of these concentrations that I was speaking of. One is integrated application development. This is for the IT practitioners who want to specialize in writing code, whether it's mobile application development or web development or integrated database type development. The next one is product and program support. This is a pretty interesting IT concentration. This is for the business analysis, the technical writers, the QA type development, writing specs. So not really the hardcore techie. You don't have to be an expert in science and math, but still be an IT expert, still be in the IT field. The next one is system and network administration. If you're involved with IT at all, you know what this is about. This is the IT group who spins up the servers, keeps the network running, do advanced algorithms with the network speed and off of a diverse network connecting to the cloud. And that speaks another concentration. We have cloud and virtualization. You can't speak the word IT today without using the word cloud. So we have a whole concentration developed on how to set up cloud using AWS, Google Cloud, Red Hat Cloud, Microsoft Hyper-V, and Microsoft Azure type clouds. So real stuff. We do a practicum there. Then also cybersecurity. You can't have an IT conversation in today's world without cybersecurity. So you can have a whole undergraduate bachelor's degree focused on cybersecurity, pen testing, system analysis and forensics review. So in each one of these concentrations, there's a specific set of courses that relate to the concentration. Now, so all the coursework in your concentration major will be directed toward your concentration, but there's also a bunch of other electives that you have to fill in. So if you want to major in IT cybersecurity, but you're also interested in app dev, you can still take some of those programming courses as well. And so, Ralph, did you want to talk about the graduate level?
Sure thing, Bill. So yeah, we've got the 3 information technology Master of Professional Studies degrees, graduate degrees. They're 100% online. You can see them. In addition to that, we've got concentrations in the graduate program. So we've got in the IT management, we offer a Homeland Security concentration with your IT management degree, an emergency operations concentration, and a cybersecurity concentration as part of your IT management degree. So if you want to get your master's in IT management, you could get a concentration in cybersecurity without taking extra credits. Just pick your electives wisely, and we've got a list of courses that will get you one of those concentrations. On the cybersecurity management, we've got 2 concentrations. One is Homeland Security, and the other is emergency operations. So we've got concentrations for our master's program. You can get those. We've also got what we call stackable certificates, graduate certificates. That means as you're proceeding through, you can start by going for a certificate and then applying that certificate courses and that certificate towards your master's degree without taking more credits than you would have to towards your master's degree. So we've got a cyber defense, cyber leadership, IT strategic planning, and technology architecture in those programs. Suffice to say that some of them are more hardcore technical, the architecture course and the defense course, and the certificate, I should say. And then you've got some that are more governance, more policy, more leadership type, such as the cyber leadership and the strategic planning certificates. And again, those are 100% stackable. So we'll go to the next slide, Chris. So Tulane SoPA Information Technologies programs difference. Bill, do you want to start us off on that?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. So in dealing with online classes, I don't know if you guys that are on the call has taken an online class. I personally have. In this, we have kind of flipped the model of online classes. Online classes are very convenient for the student, as they're typically very asynchronous, or so you can log in and do your coursework at any place, anytime, that kind of thing. It works well. The typical online course, you log in, do your readings, answer a quiz, submit an assignment, and then move on to the next one. So what we've done, but you missed certain things. You missed that one-on-one action with the instructor. You missed the collaboration you have with your fellow students, all the kind of things that an on-ground course gives. So what we've done, we flipped the classroom model for online classes. We brought some of the positives of an on-ground experience into our online and kept the negatives, having to drive in, get a parking spot, things like that. And how we've done that? By using certain tools like Zoom, like we're on this call right here. Zoom is integrated in all of our online courses. So you'll have asynchronous and synchronous meetings with your faculty and your students. So you can have synchronous meetings like we're doing right now. You can see us, we're all together. In some of your class meetings, you'll actually get on Zoom and you will interact with your instructor one-on-one, giving a lecture, asking questions, doing group projects. You'll interact with your fellow cohort of students and peers, and you'll work together in this synchronous session to deliver products, work together. And then there'll even be study times where you'll break off and just going to work just with your students like you would in an on-ground classroom. It's really awesome. So it's not a typical online class. It's very, very interactive by using all these different tools. And we'll talk about some of our LMS tools a little bit later. And in that, I also want to, if you don't mind, I'll talk a little bit about our labs. Since this is a technical degree, this is an undergrad or even graduate IT degree. You can't have an IT degree. I spoke earlier about, you need to have practical skills, relevant skills. So we have over 200 plus labs integrated all into our courses. Depending on how technical the course is, some has a lot, some has a few, but you're going to be labs. It's going to be real life stuff. How to actually write code. How do you stand up and build a Windows server? How to do a penetration test against an asset for cybersecurity reasons. So you're going to, not only are you going to see it and read about it and write a paper about it, you're going to actually do it real life, fingers on keyboard, building certain things. And since everything's a virtual world now, a lot of our labs are cloud-based. It's going to be real reactive to certain things that are applicable skills that are based on what employers need today. And so that's what a lot of our courses are. They're very hands-on, very interactive, and it's not your typical online scenario if you take an online class.
Yeah, and Bill already mentioned our professors who are current IT practitioners. I encourage you, if you're interested in knowing more, is to go out to our website and just go to information technology programs and click on the faculty button and read bios for Bill, myself, and for all of our faculty. We've got photos and bios up there, so you'll see the nature and the deep experience level of our professors there. If you sign on for our degrees, whether they're fully online or whether they're undergraduate courses that are meeting on ground, you'll be full Tulane students. So that means the campus is completely open to you. You could be a fully online student, but you could be living in New Jersey, and you could decide to fly down and use the library and use the campus and attend social events and be part of the Tulane community. We'll talk a little bit about what it means to be a Tulane alumni in a few, but understand that while you're a student, you're a full-on Tulane student with go to the football games, go to the baseball games if you like, whether you're local or not. If you want to get down, attend the graduation when you finish. We had the CEO of Apple this year run our was our keynote at our graduation, which takes place in the Superdome, which is the Saints' home field. So you're full students, and you'll have access to all of our support services as well. So you'll have the fun stuff. You'll also have the support, and that goes beyond just millions of articles and digital media from our library. You'll have all kinds of other support. Something that's interesting, we just recently kicked off a women in technology mentorship program. If you're a female student in our programs, you'll be able to connect up with an industry mentor who volunteers their time to, they'll jump on a phone call with you once or twice a month, see how you're doing. We realize that women are underrepresented in the IT field, and we're seeking to make a change there. So we've got folks who are in industry, who are successful in industry. They're executives, they're directors, they're vice presidents, they're leaders, and they're volunteering to support our students. That's just some of the power of being associated with the top 50 university in the United States. We've got folks looking to give back, and that's more than money. That's sometimes time. So if you're a female and you're concerned about how you'll handle the culture in information technology, whether you're an undergraduate student or a graduate student, we have this type of a program. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got a lot of this stuff going on. I guarantee you we have more stuff going on than you have time for, but you'll probably find something of interest. And then to the alumni and professors, we encourage these synchronous sessions because we want you to network with your fellow students, and we want you to network with your professors. It's not unusual for a student who's outstanding and does a good job to wind up working for go to work for the company of a professor. I send out job opportunities. One of the last things I did before I joined this meeting today was send out a multiple job opportunities for within a cybersecurity company who are looking for talent. And I sent it to all undergraduate and graduate students. I do that multiple times every week to all of our students. So sometimes if it requires a deep level of expertise, I'll only send it to graduate students. But that's something I do on a consistent, regular basis, multiple times a week. So folks want to hire Tulane, and you know who else wants to hire Tulane graduates? Tulane graduates who are now leaders out there in the world. They like the education they got at Tulane, and they want to give back, and they want to hire. They want to get people with a degree they can trust. So today's opportunity that I did right before I joined this meeting was from an existing instructor who needs her company's a cybersecurity company, and she said, you know what, get me some of these Tulane students. We got great students, and she sent those over. So when they file their application, they're going to put a note on the application that says they were recommended by Tulane. I think they'll wind up going to the top of the stack. So these are just some of the things we're doing. I wanted to talk a little bit more about our learning management system, because if you're an online student, or even if you're an on-ground student, you're going to spend time in Canvas, and you're going to see. But I want to talk about some of the higher level features in Canvas, which are amazing. Canvas, a lot of universities use Canvas. We're not alone in that, but we actually paid to have a social hub installed in Canvas so students can have a more natural interaction with professors and other students. That's outside of Canvas discussions, which is a feature. We've actually paid to integrate Social Hub. Zoom, every student who's every Tulane student will have access to their own Zoom room and can hold their own meetings. You don't need your instructor to run your own meetings. So if you folks want to get together and solve a problem or study for an exam, you'll have complete access to your own Zoom room with all the Zoom features, chat, group, breaking into groups, recording of sessions. You'll have all of that opportunity. Canvas has a built-in calendar for you to keep your stuff straight. You can turn in, and you know, Canvas is a centralized place where you can communicate with your instructor. Most instructors log on daily, even in asynchronous courses. They log on daily and they'll answer your questions. And so it's just a great place, and we've done more with it perhaps than other universities have. You want to go to the next slide, Chris?
Yeah, so I'll pick up from there. I think Ralph did an outstanding job of talking about how we place some of our students. These are some of the job titles that our students are applying for and getting, either from an internship or actually full position. From an instructor standpoint, we want you to succeed. We want you to get an A in the class. We want you to graduate. But the ultimate success that we love to see is when a student emails back and say, "Hey, I applied for this job and I got it." And during my interview, I talked about some of the coursework that I did while I was at Tulane, and that's what landed me the job. Or my boss was impressed with some of the things that I've learned, and now I'm in track for promotion. So we see that. And I will reiterate again that we talk about the value of our faculty in our industry connections through our industry board, faculty, that's all connected to this ecosphere, which is Tulane University, is powerful. It's very, very powerful. So these job titles right here, this isn't all inclusive. There's a lot more, but you kind of see the depth and scope. And these connections we have to industry is so very powerful that we're placing interns all the time. We have top level companies either in the region and outside the region contacting us. Hey, send me some of your best applicants and students, and we do that. We'll cull it down. We talk to the professor and say, hey, who's somebody you got that's really good in X, and that leads into internships, job placements, and all kind of fun stuff. So just peruse this list of these job titles, and just know that this isn't all the job titles. This is just a random sampling of what we've seen our graduates and students apply for and get in today's world.
Yeah, well said, Bill. And so we've kind of given an overview of the IT programs and how we manage our courses, our learning management system, and as Bill said, our ecosystem. But what's the philosophy? You heard we went out to industry when we built the courses. You also heard that we maintain an industry board. You go over our website and just look for our industry board, and you'll see who's on our industry board: Microsoft, Google, the ex-CIO of the Department of Defense, local companies, law firms that specialize in cybersecurity and cybersecurity risk. You can go out to the web and click on some of the folks that are on our industry board that advise us. So what kind of philosophy do we bring to our courses, both undergraduate and graduate? I like to call it the three legs of the stool. You need three legs for a stool to stand up and be sturdy. And so what we look to give our students is three things. And we talked a lot about technical ability and mastery of technology, modern technology, and we certainly mean to do that. No one is going to leave our programs without having gone significantly hands-on, right? We also seek to give our students leadership grounding, so that they can have conversations at all levels, from as a leader of other people to peers, and to speak to C-level folks in a company. You can have a conversation when you're not the CEO with the CEO, or when you're not the CIO and you need to explain to a CIO why you need a budget to fund a cybersecurity initiative. So we've got we aim to provide our people with those kind of leadership qualities, whether it's undergraduate or graduate, that to take out into the world. And the third part of it is certification type skills, and also governance and best practice. And so a lot of IT work, whether it's working in an IT shop or working in a startup or working in a cybersecurity firm, a lot of that work is around governance, risk management, those type of skills. And part of our goal is for folks to leave our program knowing that they're part of a wider system, and leave with best practices and knowledge of why you would have a process, why you would have a training program, why you would have a risk management philosophy and a program as well, learning how to manage risk. So we also give those type of skills across the board. One way we do it, which kind of separates us from just about every other university in the United States, we've actually built a fake company that we use in many of our courses. It's called South Balance, and this company has a org chart, it has a mission statement, it has products, it has a website, and it also has a real infrastructure, a technical infrastructure, an email server and a firewall, and all the things typical things you'd find in a company. And this is all built out so that when you solve problems, we very much are into assignments that are case studies. We're very much into group assignments because we want to mirror how the real world works. Well, you'll be doing a lot of those case studies against this company. A lot of the videos, professionally shot videos you'll see, will be recurring actors who hold positions in the South Balance company. So we've kind of got a real company for you to break and for you to solve problems with, so you don't leave the university thinking that you're going to solve problems in a very academic and greenfield way. Well, this system's not secure, throw it out, we'll build another one. That's not how the real world works. You'll be solving problems with and inside of a company that functions, and it has processes and procedures, it has a budget, and it has people that work there and that you have to report to and through. And you'll also work on capstone type projects, whether you're an undergrad or a graduate student, where you'll leave your program with a capstone project that indicates the full scope of your learning. And you'll be able to bring that into a potential employer and say, sure, I understand how this works in industry. Here's an example of a cybersecurity problem I solved. I built a governance structure. We built a risk management plan. We stood up a a SEAM to look at our audits and our logs, and you'll be able to talk about a soup to nuts project you worked on as part of the capstone. If you're working on an application development capstone at undergraduate level, you may build out a fully functioning program that that solves a problem, whether it's a mobile app or a web app or a traditional client server type of an app. So these are the kind of things we built in so that you leave the program not only with knowledge, academic knowledge, as Bill said, not only with technical hands-on learning, but also with proof of your learning in the form of a Tulane degree, and under your arm, an actual capstone project that you were successful in, that's been looked at by industry, not just your instructor. That capstone project has been looked at by people in industry that are going to give you feedback. So when you leave, you know you've left with the best. So Chris, that's kind of an overview of what we've got, and we're going to stick around and answer questions at the end. So let me just turn that back to you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Mr. Russo and Dr. Riles. I think you guys really gave us an excellent segue into the student support and success piece. So Mr. Russo was talking about it from that academic and professional level, about the way that we support student learning and about some of those pieces we have in place within the information technology program. But we also have some wider initiatives that are part of either Tulane as a whole or part of Tulane SoPA. So one piece of that is academic advisors. I know from my personal experience in undergrad and with my graduate degree that it was a little bit difficult for me to actually be able to get together with my academic advisors. I didn't have teleconferencing options. I would have to schedule weeks in advance, and it could be kind of onerous to actually get that one-on-one time. From what I've seen at SoPA, that's not the experience that students have. Our advisors are extremely flexible in terms of the delivery methods that they offer. So you can teleconference through a Zoom session. You can also reach out via email and phone, as well as those one-on-one sessions at both of our uptown campuses and our campus out here in Elmwood. And with that, it gives you a lot of flexibility if you're an online student or if you're an on-ground student. That way, you're able to really be able to get the information you need in the delivery method that's going to be the most effective for you. And you'll still get that experience that a traditional on-the-ground student has because you have access to some of those other support pieces like our career advising. The career advising, I think, is a really unique piece that we have here in that all of our students have access to Ms. Cynthia Washington. Cynthia Washington does all of our career advising for students. So throughout their educational journey, they'll meet with her to learn about what some of these internships are, some of the job opportunities in the field, and also looking at how they can improve their resume before they're leaving. So Cynthia is looking to set you up to where you can leave with your degree and also have that resume or CV that shows really concretely what you've done here. And you have something that you can really bring to an employer for that interview and show, these are my skills. This is the portfolio I have of my work. This is the CV that represents the scope of my work. Another interesting piece that we have is our credits for prior learning. I know for many of our students, they're working adults, veterans, active duty service members, people who have time obligations that are going to really impact their time to completion. And with the credits for prior learning, you have the ability to go in, use your industry experience, professional experience, or even that volunteer experience you've had. So if you were in the military and you received certifications within the field, or say you have a personal passion for the IT and you've gone out and you've worked with different companies, different support organizations, you can take these portfolio classes that allow you at the undergraduate level to potentially get up to 24 credits, and at the graduate level, potentially up to 6 credits. So if you're looking at it in terms of a 6 credit or 12 credit semester, that could be anywhere from 2 to 4 semesters that you could knock out. And that could easily be a way where you can cut down on your out-of-pocket cost as well as your time to completion. So if you're someone where you're in a role that offers, say, tuition matching, or where they're supporting your educational journey, and you want to be able to get there a little bit faster so that you can take advantage of potential promotions or any of those other benefits that would come from having these certifications or degrees, you'll be able to accelerate it a little bit. Another piece of that support that Professor Russo was hitting on was that expert faculty that we have. That industry experience is a really, really important piece when you're finishing up here, or even when you're along the way and you're looking at what concentration do I want to focus on? How do I want to structure my coursework? The faculty is going to be able to help you determine what are the skills that are in demand. What are your strengths and how can you play to those strengths and be able to walk out with a degree that allows you to demonstrate your value and the skills that you've learned. The other piece that Professor Russo was talking about is we have a big network of adults and Tulane alumni who are an active part of this community. So what that means is when you're leaving Tulane and going out into the working world, either through a career change or you're looking to advance in your role, you're going to run into a lot of people who either have that experience at Tulane or have that experience with Tulane employees or Tulane alumni, where there's a positive association within the region for the alumni here and also beyond the region. Tulane right now is one of the few schools in the country that has not experienced the decline in applications. And Tulane School of Professional Advancement is a great way for you to be able to capture some of that cachet and that prestige, but at a way that works for you in terms of pacing and cost. Now, one of the other pieces that I think is really important is talking about those logistical elements. How do you apply? So at the undergraduate level, you've got a $40 application fee, and that application is entirely online. But for joining us today, your application fee will be waived, so you don't have to worry about that piece. And what you do have to actually do is go in there, start that application, include a picture of a government-issued ID, so driver's licenses, state identifications, things of that nature. And then from there, go ahead and start those transcript requests. We receive them both electronically as well as if you have a physical copy. So if the school's mailing it or if they're providing you with that physical sealed copy that's a final official transcript, we can also receive it that way. So if you're in progress, finishing out a degree, or maybe you haven't been able to get everything together to order all of your transcripts and you only have those unofficial transcripts, we can still start the process. Because the important piece is getting to where you can have your application started and be able to fulfill these requirements as you're able to tackle them at your own pace. So even if you just have those unofficial copies, we can still give you an idea of whether or not you'll be able to be admitted, what sort of course schedule you'd be looking at if you have transfer credits, and those other pieces that are going to be really important when you're evaluating what's the next best option for me, what's the next step for me. So at the graduate level, you're still going to have those same sort of requirements where you're going to need a government-issued ID, you're going to need to provide transcripts, but then there's also going to be a few additional pieces. In general, what we're looking for is a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and that you've graduated with either a BA or a BS in a major that's related to mathematics, computer information systems, computer science, information sciences, engineering, or statistics. So with those sort of fields, it's showing us that you have that necessary coursework in place, that you'll be able to keep up with the pacing of the courses, that you'll have some of that foundational knowledge that's going to be able to get you to start right away so that you won't need to do any preparation before starting your coursework. And then for people who are coming out of a non-computing major, professional experience can be used to offset that. So if you don't have that significant computing coursework, you don't have that major, but you've been working in the field, that professional experience can offset it. And it can be a way for you to demonstrate that you have the necessary skills to be able to keep up with the course. So with those pieces, you'll also have to answer some application questions that help Professor Russo and Dr. Riles to evaluate what sort of pathway are you looking for, what sort of skills you have, what's your experience and background, and those help to give the context to your educational journey so far. So it can help to explain why your grades might not be at the level that you were hoping for a BA or BS because you have these other elements that offset it. The resume and the CV can be a really good way to demonstrate that too, because if you have that extensive CV where you already have certifications, you've already got these other elements in place that show that you have the skills, then that's a way to really help to improve the quality of your application. And it really shows us a little bit more about who you are and your background. So just to touch on what we just went over, you can send those transcripts in electronically as well as physically. You shouldn't let an unofficial transcript be the barrier towards getting that review process started, because an important part of this review process can also be connecting with advisors, connecting with program directors to finish out that evaluation part for you, where you're trying to determine, is this coursework, is this degree the appropriate next step for me? Am I going to be able to get all of the pieces in place that I need to start at my desired semester? So those important logistical pieces that are going to be necessary for when you're getting started. The application deadlines right now are, we've passed the summer semester at this point. So you'd be looking at the fall of 2019 or spring of 2020. So with the graduate level for fall, you've got a deadline of August 1st. So with that August 1st, you need to have a complete and submitted application that's including your resume, CV, any of those required pieces. And then those transcripts have already been ordered and are either on the way or provided to us unofficially. And then with the undergraduate, it's going to be an August 15th deadline. So you've still got a bit of time. You're looking at about 5 weeks or so until the graduate deadline, and then about 7 weeks or so until that undergraduate deadline. So you've still got time if you're finishing out a program or you're looking at getting all of your transcripts in place. If you're worried that that time frame might be a little too short for you, then you may want to look at that spring 2020, where a graduate application is going to close on December 15th and undergraduate will close on January 1st. For fall 2019 and spring 2020, our tuition is going to be at the undergraduate level, $474 a credit hour. So a typical course at the undergraduate level will be 2 or 3 credits. And you may have related fees, but you can do those base calculations using that credit hour cost to start to figure out how much is your out-of-pocket cost going to be and whether or not any of these educational benefits you have might help to offset that cost and be able to limit your out-of-pocket cost. At the graduate level, you're looking at $10.39 a credit hour. These costs are pretty similar to what you're looking at regionally for other schools that offer these programs. So you're able to get that prestige of Tulane at a price point that's about market average. And that's a great value for those of you who are looking to stay in the Gulf Coast region and want to be able to use some of that cachet of the Tulane degree, or for those of you that are outside of the Gulf Coast region and want to be able to have that name recognition of a school that you know and trust. We offer financial aid. So if you do a FAFSA or you look at any of those educational benefits that you might qualify for, those will help to pay for part of your school. So our students qualify for financial aid, federal grants, federal loans. If you're local to us and you say you work for Jefferson Parish or Orleans Parish, you also qualify for tuition discounts. And then for those of you that are outside of the region and within the region, you may qualify for some of our military and veterans discounts as well. Those will help to reduce the cost. And one other really wonderful piece here is that we do have yellow ribbon scholarships. So if you are a veteran, you're a retired service member, you're someone where you've recently separated from the military, you may qualify for these. And these yellow ribbon scholarships can help to offset the difference between our cost of tuition and what your educational benefits like your GI Bill can cover. Right now we have 35 of those. The vast majority of them are still available to be claimed. So if you are in that veteran grouping, that's a really great opportunity for you. And it allows you to reduce that out-of-cost pocket. And that's really going to be important to you because if you're someone where you're paying out of pocket, you're using loans, you're going to want to figure out what that total cost is going to be for you so that you can sort of look at, am I going to need scholarships? Am I going to need to access any of these other resources? So that covers all the content for our presentation. So I wanted to open up the floor for the Q&A. I haven't received any questions so far other than Jimmy was asking earlier about if you have access to the labs, even if you're not enrolled in that specific class. So you do have access to physical labs, but those online labs where you're going to be doing something that's specific to the coursework, those are going to be limited to the class that you're taking. You're not going to be getting that full suite because they're not trying to open everything up to you before you're ready for it. There's going to be certain foundational elements of your coursework. There's going to be pieces that you need to be able to demonstrate your skills in before you're ready to tackle those next steps. Professor Russo or Dr. Riles, do you have anything that you want to share that you think is particularly important for students and prospective students to know about the program or about the structure of the program that'll be pertinent to them?
Hey, yeah, Chris, well, as long as we're on the subject of labs, folks might want to, they might be interested that we're kicking off a cyber team that's going to include both graduate students and undergraduate students to compete nationally in cybersecurity type of events. So we're just getting that off the ground now, and at the undergraduate level and at the graduate level, we're actually stood up special topics courses to help that team members prepare for events and to obviously get the deeper learning on cybersecurity to be able to perform well at the events and to be able to perform well in industry. So we are kicking off a cyber team as well now.
The other thing that I would add to that, we have a very diverse student population as well. We have all ages and all career paths as well. So we have career changers, or we have students who've been in IT for a while. They're just trying to get to the next level. So that's kind of neat, because don't be intimidated about starting back school at wherever you are in your career, because you're going to be with a set of peers with a diverse background. We can all learn from each other. So whether you haven't been in school for a while and you're just starting back, you're going to feel right at home. Or you've been in school and you just continue, you're going to feel right at home as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riles. I think you guys have really shared some important pieces today about the program and about the design of it that make it a unique offering for us. That we're really giving students an opportunity to engage in a high demand field where there's opportunities for growth. For those of you that are here in the New Orleans area, you're seeing that change happen now. If you look down on Poydras Street, the Freeport-McMoran building was one of the centers of the petroleum industry here in the region, and now you're seeing DXC moving in there. You're seeing the change in the field and also the change in the region and what sort of job opportunities there are. So there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of room for engagement. And there's also a lot of opportunity for you to be able to continue past your degree program and have a substantive impact on the region, whether that's the governance portion and you're helping to direct policy, or whether that's a piece where potentially you're working for a large corporation or service provider and you're able to make those sort of decisions that are going to impact people's interaction with technology. As we move more towards a world that has this Internet of Things, having these skills and the understanding of these interactions is going to be really important for you. And something that Professor Russo also noted, DXC is on our industry board. They are one of the larger employers in Orleans Parish for the IT field, and to have them being able to have that say in our industry board, that gives more weight to the coursework that our students are doing, because this coursework is designed with the employers in mind, and you're not walking out with skills that are dated, skills that are not in demand. You're walking out with skills that are going to be able to continue on your career path.
Yeah, DXC, we've already placed some folks at DXC already. They are looking to sponsor our robotic process automation event we're starting to put together for early next year. They're already indicated interest in sponsoring it, and one of our instructors is an executive at DXC as well. So, you know, we've got instructors from companies all over the globe, but there's also some local IT champions here as well.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Since we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and close out today's session. If you have any questions after this, you can please contact our Executive Director of Admissions, Ms. Sheila Gold, at sgold@tulane.edu, or you can contact me directly at cloyd3@tulane.edu. And for your time today and for joining us on this lunch break and on your Friday, you can use that free day code to submit your application with no fee today.